Wait, welcome to the stream. Hi, Cuckoo. Welcome. We're playing It Gets So Lonely here. And I don't know nothing about this game. Specifically, this game. Is it loading? Okay. How have you been? I am okay. I'm okay. I'm good. Just doing peachy. You know. English. Ebihime. Wow. It's okay, I'll keep you. Thank you! I don't wanna be alone! No! Don't leave me. Don't leave. Anyways. Never. Is it just me or the music is too loud? I think the music is too loud. Up. I think it's okay. Default. Skip read text. Transitions. Windowed. Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with windowed. Kinda remind me of Demon Slayer this. Oh, is it because of the roses? Makes sense. The song. Oh! Okay, it makes even more sense now. Okay. Mayan is not yet here, so I'll... what's extras? Ah, okay. Start! I don't know if this has voices or not. You are... Am I having a stroke? Yeet me. Ah! So, Mayan?
Yeet me!
You got yeeted! To here.
Yeet!
Yay! Okay, so Mayan, let us set the ground rule. I shall be MC, you could be whoever you want, just tell me. Yeah? Yeah? Or if you want, you could be MC this time. Oh my...
What the character looks like first. Also,
Hi.
picture, please.
Oh yeah, fuck. Okay, we're here. This is the settings.
Alright.
Is the volume alright? I think it's okay. Like our volumes and...
It's good.
Okay. You're running through the forest. I'm gonna be narrator. I wanna be narrator just because.
Okay.
Who knows what might be... It is late at night and the sky is as black as pitch. You mean pitch black? There's nothing to light your way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you properly. Thank you for your alert, Cuckoo. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you're going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, however, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you are going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You're running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy with no destination in mind. Gonna get cozy for the story? Indeed.
What kind of word is nervy?
I don't know. I mean, this game isn't was translated. No, this was a different types of. Hi, werewolf. You have no desire as you run, save to escape. Cannot let yourself. So I'm supposed to save? If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. You have no choice, therefore, but to keep going on and on and on, so your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You have no idea how long you've been running. Time has begun to blend together. It has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at...
Really good.
The what? Oh yeah, the...
It kind of looks a little painted, but also pixely.
Yeah, it's like textured of a painting
Very good.
canvas. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what has happened. Instead, you tug. Your skirt tears at the sound splitting through the forest, and you stumble forwards with a shocked gasp. You're free, but what cost? Your skirt has been irrevocably damaged. It might be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. If you do not start running again, and soon, she will catch you. Then your life will be over. You do not know if she's still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. If you were to see her silhouetted beneath a tree looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you, you would lose what little nerve you possess. Your legs would lock up and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then you would crumple. You would fall, but you would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you. Did she not promise when you made that contract that you would never be alone? Would you like to take back that silly wish of yours? But it's too late for that. It is too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. You run and run and run while the icy fog swirls about your feet. It's cold enough to sap the heat from your body and you shudder from it. It feels as though you are drowning. It feels as though you are being buried alive. Your knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. You cannot endure much more of this. But if you value your own life, you must. You run and run and you run until at long last you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself though. Not when you have put so much effort into running forwards. You can only press on. The 3 paths are signposted, which is of something a strange sight given you are so deep in the forest. Dark though it may be, you have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick out the writing on this old dilapidated signpost, curved and slanted though it is. Your fate, if you forgive me for sounding cliché, is in your hands. Now I wonder, which path would you take? Oh! Mayan! Choices are yours. I don't know if I could... Oh, I could save.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saving.
Let's go to the village.
Alrighty! Village! So you want to go to the village? Good idea. Let us see what further trials await you there. This night is far from over, as much as you might wish it was, and there is still much more to discover. I wonder what will happen next. You follow the path which leads to the village, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs which feel ready at a moment's notice to snap at the knee beneath the burden of your weight. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. Your only hope as you continue to run that you find a suitable residence in which to rest at the village. Hi, Fufu! You do not know what will wait you at the village, but you have visions as you run of a quaint scenic settlement, all thatched cottages with sloping roofs. Surely there will be a kindly peasant who will be willing to put up a young runaway for a few nights. You can imagine, too, the face of this kindly peasant from the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. She will be broad-shouldered and ruddy-faced, with dull brown hair crammed beneath a cap. Her arms will be sturdy from many years of washing clothes and milking cows, but she will be kind to you, compassionate, just like a mother. You do not know what mothers are like. You hardly ever spoke to yours. You are only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, you do have a few reservations. Peasants do not, as you know for your vicarious reading, have much money, nor do they have much food. It might be hard to convince a resident of the village, even the kindly washerwoman of your fantasies, to take in a complete stranger. Still, you must try. That is all you can do, really. So you run to the village. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you manage it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt with it. It is still cold, though, and still foggy. It's still dark, too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the village nestled among the hills like a diorama. Hope anew bubbles within you. You have finally made it. Surely not but your salvation awaits you. You follow the winding dirt path to the village, looking this way and that. But your hope, such as a precious, fragile thing, soon begins to fade. The village up close does not look half as welcoming as you imagined. There are cottages, yes, but they are in a state of disrepair. There are holes in the roofs and holes in the windows. Most of the doors are tightly shut, but others are gaping open. And kitchens beyond them, even darker than the night sky which shrouds you. There are no lights on in any of the windows, and neither can you see any people, insomniacs like you, at them. You cannot hear anything either, beyond the sound of your own footsteps, and the low, mournful sighing of the wind. The village is quiet, eerily so. It is immediately obvious that even to a naive girl such as yourself, that something terrible must have befallen this village. You know before you try your luck at one of those houses that nobody will answer you. There will be no kindly red-armed washerwoman to welcome you here, no matter how much you wish for it. That does not stop you from wishing regardless. Your knuckles rapped smartly against the wooden door. Your efforts soon prove, however, to be in vain. There's nobody here to hear your entreaties. How very sad. You try another door and another, but the result is the same regardless of how many doors you rap upon. Nobody answers you. How could they? There's nobody there. Once again, you have found yourself all alone. At least, you have found some dwellings in which you can rest your weary head. Will you utilize one of these cottages for your purposes? Nobody is here, you might as well. But no, an abandoned cottage is not what you're looking for. You would far rather have companionship, would you not? Bravely, you swallow your tears. You wipe your eyes with the back of your arm in a well-practiced motion. Then inhale. Square your shoulders, and you keep going. Surely the village cannot be completely deserted. There must be one person here, at the very least, who can help you. That is what you are thinking as you resume your search. You flit from the cottage to cottage with precious little show of your determination, until you make yet another discovery. Oh, Jesus! Oh, that's a grave right there. This village, with its thatched cottages bathed in the moon's glow, has a church. Well, of course it has a church. The villagers who once dwelt here were not godless heathens. Not that their fate did them all that much good in the end. Wow! Still, the sight of the church soothes your overtaxed heart. You were so focused on your fantasies of a kindly washerwoman taking you in, you did not pause to entertain the fancy of a kindly nun doing much the same. All hope is not lost. You approach the church, which seems to cover to tower over you despite it being so humble. The church is a small one, but it's stout and sturdy. It must be, for it has withstood centuries, forever standing, sentinel, on this hill like a relic from a bygone era. The church does not have any stained glass windows, but it does not need them. Even without more luxurious trappings, the church still exudes an aura of dignified solemnity. The stone building is fringed by a sizable graveyard, one which occupies the rest of the hilltop and some of its sloping sides. The graves, which have been planted by generations of gardens hewn from a similar stone to that which the church's walls are made of. Some of the gravestones are shaped like lounges, while others are shaped like crosses. A handful of headstones are even shaped like angels, though these are few and far between. There are very few people in a village such as this one who can afford such luxurious final resting places. You look at the tombstones with an almost childlike curiosity, forgetting in your examination of the visceral, heartrending fear which gripped you as you ran through the forest. You are out of the woods now, and you have subconsciously already begun to relax. You try to read the names honed into the myriad of tombstones, but it's very dark. You are tired, and some of these graves are very, very, very old indeed. You strain your eyes, but you do not have much luck in this endeavor. Oh well, such as superfluous details are not important. You eventually tire of examining the graves and turn. This graveyard is an expansive one, unusually so. Given the village itself is so small, how can it boast so many corpses? And there is much to explore. You walk about the perimeter of the church, casting your gaze first here and there, then everywhere, consumed as you are by your immense, all-encompassing curiosity. And as you do, you see her. Ah! Pretty! She has silver hair. She looks like an ordinary girl, small and scrawny, just like yourself, but she is much, much more than her unremarkable appearance might suggest. For some moments you observe her, hiding, all the while in the shadow cast by the church like a furtive lizard clinging against a rocky edifice to shroud itself from the sun. There is no sunlight here, though. There's only that night sky and the stars and the moon. Beneath the moon's light, a silvery implement the girl is clutching shimmers. It takes you a few moments to see what that girl is clutching in her hands. Not until you see her manipulate it, its sharp edge biting into the earth, that you understand. It's a shovel. This girl is standing in an isolated corner of the churchyard. late at night, and she's digging a grave. Well, I suppose she could always be digging a hole for the sake of it, but her work seems too much precise for this to be the result of a mere whimsy. It's hard for you to see her face given the distance between the pair of you, but her posture is one that speaks of supreme concentration. She moves slowly, mechanically, like a woman on a mission, driving the end of her shovel into the earth over and over. Her motions are regular enough to be repetitive. There's something hypnotic, almost, in the manner in which she attends this task. Should you risk interrupting her? Do you dare? You get the feeling she would not appreciate it. The shovel in her hands, meanwhile, is rather hefty. If she wished it, she could cause you no small amount of damage with it. Cold anxiety makes your skin prickle. You do not know if you should risk speaking to her when she is in her dark cloak with her shovel. It looks so very strange. But what do you have left to lose? You've come this far. It would be folly to turn back now. It is with this thought in your mind that you decide to approach the strange girl. Your footsteps are quiet. You have grown accustomed to slinking around like a cat, but they are not quiet enough. The girl's senses must be finely tuned because she blinks. Then she turns. Your eyes meet, but once they do, you feel your breath catch in your throat. You do not have a clear view of the girl before, concealed as you were in the shadows, but now she's looking at you. You can tell that she is pretty. Yep. Her skin is very smooth and her hair, though obscured by a dark hood, is very fair. Her eyes, meanwhile, are a clear blue like ice. Those eyes of her, which are large with unease, are fringed with very long fair eyelashes. She looks as though she stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she's some kind of vision? A waking dream? A hallucination? But no, she's none of those things. The shovel she is clutching in her hands looks solid enough, its pointed tip glittering in the wickedly light. You steel yourself, expecting...
I do have to ask, why is the shovel handle angled like that?
I think it's broken. Because it looks like it was repaired a little bit.
Usually some implements have a wrapped handle for a better grip.
You steel yourself, expecting perhaps some sort of outburst, but the tension soon drains from the girl's slender shoulders. Her fingers, which once were gripping the handle of her shoulder tightly, relax. Her lips curve upwards at the edges. She is smiling, and what a smile that is! It is transformative. When she smiles, she looks radiant, angelic almost. Hers is a smile so suffused with light that your eyes begin to prickle from it. You're so relieved you almost feel as if you could cry. It would not be the first time you've wept during this night, and neither it would be too surprising if you did. You've been through a lot. You must be exhausted. The girl holding the shovel seems to realize this, because she bridges the distance between you cautiously, as one might approach a skittish cat. Then she says in a rough voice, which does not match her dainty appearance. Well, she does live in a rural village. What were you expecting?
Oh, I'll do both characters for now,
Okay.
since you're doing a lot of the narration.
Yeah, I'm just doing the narration, really. You can do it.
But it'll give your voice a bit of a break.
Go.
Oh, it's so relieved to see another person. I was afraid I was the only person left alive. The only one in the whole world.
Now this is quite the effusive greeting. Her introductory speech is riddled with exclamation marks. She's rather more personable than her apparel would make one suggest. You, a well-bred young lady, cannot help but feel overwhelmed. It is your turn now to be on your guard. Anxiously, you observe the girl with the shovel and you ask her what she means. What happened?
Oh, you not know?
There's an awful lot you do not know. In fact, it would fill a whole encyclopedia. Not a whole... no. A whole library. You shake your head, ashamed at your ignorance, and the girl frowns.
You mustn't be beefing around these parts. As I should have known. This village is a small one, and everybody knows everybody else.
The girl's expression falls.
At least, they used to, back when there was still people to know. That ain't the case now, though. Not after the plague.
There was a plague? That would certainly explain why the village, when you walked through it, was so quiet. Did everybody else succumb to this mysterious illness?
That's right. It's just me here now. I've not seen another human being in a long, long time. It's so lonely here.
Now that's an interesting turn of phrase. Just inside your head like a burr. Aaron Burr? I'm joking. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the girl takes a step towards you.
Oh, where are my manners? They must have gone rusty after being on my own for so long.
Hi, Sin. Welcome.
Hello, Sin!
Hi.
My apologies, miss. You look like you've come a long way. You said you were a traveler, yes? Your hands are very cold, just like ice.
How are you? We're doing good. I sent Man a very great...
The game is gay!
The very gay animation that I just found, and I really like it.
I actually didn't watch the animation.
What? What?
I'll do that later.
What?
I'll do it later. I'll do it later.
Now you have to show it with your girlfriend. If you don't, I cry.
I'd like to come inside. I have something warm to eat and to drink. My home's small, I'm afraid, and my food ain't nothing fancy. I'm more than willing to share. It's not every day another girl stops by, especially not one as pretty as yourself. I'm feeling very blessed.
Hi, Xantros. Hey, Mochi. You beautiful bean. How are you? I am not. How dare? I'm okay.
Yes, you are.
Ah!
You are beautiful.
Ah! Just because this just is telling me, saying as pretty as myself. How dare! How dare this slander! This slander! Ah! How dare! You are a beautiful bean, and there's nothing you can do about it. Tell that to my
Mochi,
flantan.
remember.
They're much more a bean than me. They're literally shaped like a bean bag. Right, flantan?
Mochi, I will poop you.
Lol, can't. How dare! You have infinite boop tag on you. All of you. Ah! The girl laughs, a carefree, airy sort of laugh, which does not match your initial impression of her. You thought when you saw her among the graves that she would be more distant, somehow, and more mysterious. Perhaps you're mixing her up with somebody else. You're still unsure if you trust this girl, but her invitation is an appealing one. It is more appealing, certainly, than spending the night outdoors in the cold, keeping on the graves. What are you, a romantic poet? Please, you make a show of pondering the girl's invitation. At least you do not want to appear too eager, but you're Acquiescence is, alas, an inevitability. Why would you ever refuse her? She's the first friendly face you've seen all night. Without her, you would be all alone. Hi, game.
And Fudge is denying her cuteness.
Flantan in Foxglove is cute. Your hostess leads you to a small, humble home located but a stone's throw away from the church, built in the shadows of a twisted, towering sycamore. Girl's home is such a state, it seems a folly to even call it a home. Hovel would, to you, be more appropriate descriptor. But when your hostess leads you inside, her eye is alive and she says,
Oh yeah, home sweet home.
you do not have the heart to tell her that you don't find her home very homey or very sweet. That would be incredibly rude. As a guest, you ought to be more appreciative. I mean, it's in a better state. It's in a better state than most villages, maybe? I don't know. Well, ruins, I guess, because the village is in... Anyways, half-heartedly, you look around your newfound surroundings. The ceiling is supported by wooden joists and is perilously low. Not so much that you are in danger of bumping your head, but just enough to feel claustrophobic. There's a fire in the corner, though it's not consigned to a grate. The fire instead is blazing in the open. A circle of logs set alight like a scene from a witch's kitchen. Above the fire hangs a silvery pot suspended from one of the wooden eaves. Other objects of interest are hung from the eaves, iron implements you take to be cooking utensils. Various herbs and strips of meat are left to cure. The smell of cooking fills the air, mingled with the sharp sour scent of unwashed bodies. How, you wonder, does your hostess clean herself? You do not see a bathtub anywhere. Perhaps she does not possess one. The girl's home is unremarkable in every regard, but it is, you suppose, better than nothing. At least there's a roof over your head and food to put in your belly. Okay. Ah, she is wearing a corset. Ah! She wears a corset. Yes. She's like a huntress. A cute huntress. She's so cute. Ah! 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 She looks so cute. The girl looks to the pot suspended over the fire, which she gives a stir with a ladle. Then she brings the ladle to her lips to taste whatever concoction she has brewing within it. Can only hope that she is not like the weird sisters from that famous play, beering a broth of fenny snake felt. Man is not here. Yes. I think this is just about done. The girl says to nobody in particular. She sets the... Look at her smile! Look at... Ah, she looks so soft. Ah! She sets the ladle down back into the pot and then looks at you and smiles. Did you want something? Looks as though you've come... Did you want something? It looks like as though you've come quite the long way, and you must be hungry. These words are like music to your ears, even more divine than the trumpets of God's most loyal angels. You are so hungry you could eat a horse. Not really. Not that there are any horses in the immediate vicinity. You express your interest to the hostess, who smiles and responds. I thought you liked the sound of that. Just give me a few moments. Your hostess retrieves 2 earthenware bowls from a cupboard with rickety hinges, into which she pours 2 hefty helpings of whatever it is she's cooking. This she serves with bread, which is so hefty it can be used as a murder weapon. It's not much, I'm afraid. It's only soup and bread. It should take the edge off your appetite, though. Thank your hostess for her hospitality, your stomach rumbling all the while. The soup does not look like anything you would typically consume, but this soup's poor presentation does not dissuade you. It's true enough that people eat first with their eyes, but when is hungry enough, it becomes obligingly enough to eat almost anything. Why else do you think that people, when stranded upon a desert island, will resort to— Okay! Humans are creatures of necessity. You like to wrap yourselves up in pretensions, but in actuality, you are not much better than— You're so hungry, your stomach achingly empty, that you certainly descend upon your food like an animal. Your teeth glint, your incisors gleam, and soon you have consumed all that your hostess has offered you. Did you just get the whole pot? Ah! Bruh. Your hostess watches while you eat, and she giggles once you have finished. Ah! Did you enjoy that? Oh, you catch your hostess' gaze, suddenly abashed. You were so hungry you failed to account for her judgment. Now you have some food in your belly, though. You have been suitably warmed. Your old self-consciousness is returning. Did you not make a fool out of yourself? You demur shyly, looking at your lap, fearful all the while of what your hostess might think of you. You do not want her to take against you. Fortunately for you, however, for your fragile ego, your hostess is not the judgmental sort. Ah! Yes! She is not like the girls you grew up with. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's nice to see my food being appreciated so heartily. No, I'm not the best, but I've been practicing for a long while. I used to cook for my father all the time, you see. This remark catches your attention. Quickly, you look at your hostess. Your abashment over your animalistic eating has a bit suspended. What happened to her father? It seems like a grim thing to contemplate after having eaten, but did your hostess mention something about a plague? Yes. Your hostess says in her soft, now serious. That's right. There was a plague. What of the villagers? What of her father? They're all gone now. The music just stopping is so... Gone? Yes, you see.
Back.
Oh, hello. Your hostess rearranges herself upon her chair, one slender leg folded over the other. Then she begins her tale in earnest.
My family has a history. We've lived here for centuries by the church, so as we can tend to the graveyard.
Ah, so this abode is centuries old then. It would certainly explain the dirt.
My father used to prepare bodies for burial back when he was alive. He built the coffins and he dug the grave, and he lowered the coffins into the dirt. I know it might sound like an awful job, but somebody's got to do it. There's no sense averting our eyes from death, not when it happens to the best of us. It's a noble profession, one that's been handed down in our family for generations. My father's father was a grave digger, so was my father's father's father, and my father's 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 father. Digging graves is in our blood. It's who we are.
My. That was surprisingly pretty speech coming from a girl who lives in the countryside. A girl who is
I got
without...
some hot chalky.
Ooh! Without much in the...
Marshmallows.
In the way of education. It's apparent just to listen to her and the way she slurs her syllables together, as she has never had any elocution lessons? No. Elocution lessons. Not like you. There's a determination, however, to her pride in her genealogy, which gives her a respectable aura. You cannot help...
Genealogy.
Whatever. You cannot help but be impressed. So you ask your hostess, does that make her one in a long line of gravediggers?
Yes.
Your hostess, the gravedigger, says?
That's about right. Oh, I was never supposed to be a gravedigger myself. It's not a woman's profession. That's what everybody says. My father didn't mind that, though. He taught me everything he knew, and then some. I might be a woman, but I have plenty of upper body strength. I can dig a grave just as well as my father could, without breaking a sweat. The despair of my mother up in heaven, I'm sure. I'm sure if she was still alive, she'd rather I focus on more feminine pursuits, like basket weaving or sewing, to better attract a suitor. Not that that would do much good now. There's nobody around who'd court me, up for miles and miles.
And what happened to her mother?
She died when I was very young, during childbirth. I was only 5 years old.
Oh, well, you can relate to her at least upon this point. Your parents are not dead, at least as far as you are aware, but you have not seen them in an awfully long time. They sent you away as soon as you were old enough, and they never once bothered to check up on you. For many years there have been no letters nor any visits. You offer the gravedigger your condolences. You do not know if they will help, but you feel... I don't know how words in America, okay? I am just a bitch, okay?
But not a bitch. You're a fluffy dragon girl.
Okay, the way I pronounce things is not perfect because I have like a weird whatever the fuck slush in my tongue or whatever. I don't know why. I want to fix it, but I can't. Because my
Practice.
my grandma's sister made me speak British when I was young. And I had to learn Filipino. Oh, I sound like a weird mix. Okay.
Well, soon you will learn American speech.
I know how to do the Valley Girl, okay? I don't want
Show me
to...
your Valley Girl.
Isn't it like, you know, the mean girl type of voice where it's like, oh my god, how dare you be like this to me? I'm gonna tweet this at Twitter, even though it's named X now. My god. I don't know if that was good or not.
How dare you treat me like this? Do you know who I am? I have like 500 followers.
That would seem heartless.
On Instagram.
The gravedigger, however, does not seem too upset by this turn of events. But because she smiles, albeit somberly.
It's alright. That was years ago. I don't remember her too well, and, well, I've never really liked the luxury of sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I had too much work to do.
Around the house, you ask?
That, too. I was the oldest child, so it was my job. And my mother died, to manage the sweeping, the cooking, oh, and looking after all my siblings, too.
You blink intrigued. and glance about your hostess' humble lodgings. You do not see any siblings in the immediate vicinity. Where could they be? The gravedigger must have noticed your roving eyes. You are not being exactly subtle, but she shakes her head.
I had siblings, 2 younger brothers. They're both gone now.
Oh, should have known. You apologize to the gravedigger for your lack of tact, but she does not seem upset by this faux pas.
Don't apologize. It's not your fault. My brothers weren't long for this world anyway. The youngest had died when he was still a babe, and the oldest, he died before he reached double digits. I was upset about it at the time, of course, but I've come to terms with it. Life's a fleeting thing in this wicked old world. Is that something you learn in this trade? Digging graves, I mean. I've dug graves for the elderly and the infirm. I've also dug graves for young babes still in their swaddling clothes. That's the nature of death. It comes for all of us in the end, no matter how old we are, no matter how much money we have, no matter how good or bad we've been. It's the great equalizer. So I've heard.
A chill creeps down your spine as you listen to your hostess' speech. She is not wrong, but the inherent mortality of all humankind is not something you wish to contemplate. Me neither, sister! It is too disturbing. Yep.
For the longest of times, my family was a small one. It was just my father and I. Father and me. But that was fine. It was how I liked it. I was very happy, even if our lives weren't the best. I've never had any fancy clothes to wear. We can't dine on the finest of foods. In the grand scheme of things, we ain't anything that special. I've always felt otherwise.
But you look so pretty in a corset in your outfit, and you have skeleton sleeves, I just realized.
You noticed that pretty early on.
I just realized those are there's like little bits of skeletons. Like a... Wow.
Designs.
Yeah.
I thought that I was blessed. New hardship, of course, and famine. That's just the way life is around here. When food supplies were low, we always helped one another out.
How come that redeem didn't work?
Bruh. How dareth?
How dareth thine fuckery is this?
Ah!
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 Where? What? It's supposed to be there. Can you try it again?
Yeah, I've got plenty of points, so I don't mind.
What? Why?
Work?
No,
Bruh.
I didn't hear it. Why you no work? you're supposed to.
Well, then in that case,
You're gonna spam it. I'm gonna try it at my end. Time to redeem the. No. Time to redeem the. What? What?
Well, let's
Make sure
be
Blorp
nice.
is
Let's
sad.
be nice.
That sounded like B-dubs for a second. You know B-dubs, right?
yeah, I do watch the Life series.
Yeah. Let me try it again. What? I could have sworn that I have it. What the heck? Why you no work? It didn't even work. No.
It's okay.
Let me.
It's not a stream if it ain't scuffed.
Fair. Where is the thingy? Wait, what is that? No.
Nom, 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 nom.
Really?
Delicious hot cocoa.
Is that it? Huh? What the heck? These are supposed to work. Indeed. Why is it not working? I'm angry now.
Try one of the Jacksepticeye ones.
Yeah.
At least one that I know is Jacksepticeye.
But the audio didn't play. What the heck? Why did the audio not play? That's weird.
Very weird. Maybe that's something you can check out after stream.
I don't even know how that works. I don't know how it works.
Ask some friends.
Who stream?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't. Like, ask some friends who stream, or what we talking about it?
I give thee a boot.
Wonder why. It's so weird. Should have really checked these. Damn it. Damn it. I'm gonna try this one. What? I don't even know how to delete anyways. Man.
I had my father. I also had the rest of the village. We all looked out. A little bit. We all looked after one another, and things always worked out in the end. At least, I did. Until the plague happened.
Yes, she had mentioned the plague. You had been wondering when she was going to return to that topic. You suppose that the plague is the reason that the village as you traversed it was so very empty.
You suppose right. Plague tore through the village. I don't remember when. It feels like it was a while ago. Maybe it wasn't all that long after all. Feels like I've been on my own for centuries, but
Your hostess' eyes begin to cloud over. She looks like she's entrenched within her own memories. What could she be remembering? You've never seen a plague before, though you have heard of them in your history lessons. Your history professor was quite enthusiastic about the subject of plagues. She talked about piles of dead bodies stacked up on the streets and stacked up in the wooden carts to come take them away with no shortage of aplomb. She was a strange woman, your history professor.
plague came on very suddenly. There was no warning. One day, everyone was fine, and the next, they were all dead.
It is with no small...
Sorry.
It is with no small amount of anxiety that you eye the gravedigger. Then you ask worriedly, surely they could have not all have died? Is that not an exaggeration?
Oh, if only. I wish I was exaggerating, but it's the truth. Honest to God. People in the village died, one after the other, just like that. I saw what the plague does to people firsthand. My father was one of the first people who caught it. I think one of the bodies which came through that we buried must have had it. Not that I know for certain. I'm just guessing. Still. My father didn't have an easy time of it. His skin turned all gray and clammy, and he complained of a horrible fever. There were night sweats and stomach cramps. And then there were the boils.
The boils?
Pustules.
Bleh.
They were the size of eggs and they were full of pus. When they burst, it stunk. The whole house was full of it. Stink of death. A wise woman of the village came to see if she could be of any use. It was no good. My father was too far gone already. She took one look at him, lying on his deathbed, and she shook her head. She said she didn't want to get any closer. I can't say I blame her. It was a ghastly sight. I didn't appreciate it at the time, though. I felt like she was turning her back on us. I wished her ill. I remember that, after she left. Until a few days passed, and she fell sick too. And I felt bad for cursing her. I couldn't help but worry if it was all my fault. It's silly, I know, but...
The gravedigger closes her eyes. She seems to squeeze her eyelids together until her lashes melt like like flecks of fallen snow. Her shoulders, which are very slender, are shaking. She looks as though she might at any moment fall apart.
It wasn't long after that the rest of the village fell ill. They all had the same symptoms as my father: clammy skin, and the fever, and the boils. The boils grew, then they burst, and they died in screaming, stinking agony. My father died too, only 3 days after he fell ill. I think even that was 3 days too many. I didn't want my father to die, of course. I did everything I could to help him. It was all pointless. None of my herbal salves had any impact. I couldn't make a blind bit of difference. All I did was stand about his bedside, telling him it'd be alright. His eyes sank into his skull like 2 black stones and his mouth dried out. And that last day, before he died, and he'd been a corpse already. He didn't look at me, didn't speak to me. He just lay in bed with his eyes closed, groaning. I'd never wished any ill on my father before, but during those moments
The gravedigger squeezes her hands, which are resting upon her black-clad flap into fists. She trembles. In a voice throbbing with awful emotion, she says,
I wish he just died.
Well, based on her anecdote, it doesn't sound like she had overly long to wait. I wonder if she could have considered that a silver lining. No, perhaps not. The gravedigger is still shaking. She will not cry, will she? You hope not. Awkwardly, you look at the gravedigger. You're not sure how to soothe her, but you know you must make some sort of effort, even if it's a token one. You shift upon your chair, which feels very cold and hard beneath your thighs. Then you say very softly that you're sorry. It's not much, but it's all you can think of saying. You had thought initially that your situation was comparable to that of the gravedigger, but now you can see that this is not the case. Her suffering has far outstripped your own. Not that suffering is a competition, of course. Your apology feels inadequate to your ears, largely because it is, but the gravedigger seems not to mind it. She's very big-hearted, that girl, to smile at you so, no matter how foolish you might be. Do you really deserve such kindness?
Again with the apologies. It's alright, like I said. I didn't cause any of this. I'm not upset at you, I just... recounting what happened is all. I do wonder though, I never felt sick myself. I thought I was going to die, so I already prepared for the Reaper to come and take me away. Maybe he wasn't interested.
Maybe it's the vial around her neck.
It looks a little bit more like a dagger, but...
Ah. I don't know. It looks like a vial to me.
Could be. Maybe he'd already satiated his appetite on all the others.
Hmm.
Nope.
Ah.
I read the line.
How dareth?
I dareth.
How dareth thee?
I fucking dareth thee. That, or maybe he thought he'd leave me till it would have to leave me alive for practicality's sake.
Hmm.
With my father gone, who else would tend the dead? I was the only person left, by the end of it all, as I had to bury the people in the village. They're all resting peacefully now, under the earth. The plague can't reach them.
True.
On the one hand, I'm happy for them. They're able to escape from all their suffering. I think about all the people I've lost, though.
The grave digger tenses. Then she sniffs.
I think about the kindly washerwoman who helped me scrub the mud and dirt from my clothes.
Aha! So this village did have its fair share of washerwomen after all! You would seem earlier instances upon this particular point was not without merit.
She got a thing for strong women, doesn't she?
I think she has things for muscles.
Yeah. And the handsome young farmhands who used to flirt with me. The priest who preached at the church, who told us wonderful tales of paradise. And the children who would skip stones on the lake and play hopscotch in the streets. I can't help but feel so lonely.
The grave digger's eyes begin to shine once she has finished her address with tears, but she does not let them fall. She's being very brave, much more so than you are. Anxiously, you extend a hand towards her, meaning to, what? Give her a hug? You do not know her well enough. Pat her head? That would be infantilizing. Squeeze her hand? Perhaps that could be misconstrued as romantic overture. And that's the last thing you want. You endured more than a fair share of teasing over that. You sit there for a few moments, paralyzed by indecision as the grave digger poorly suppresses her sniffles. In the end, you let your arm drop back to your side. Your hand rests upon your lap, as useful as damp kindling. You do not know what to do with it. You do know that you ought to say something, though, to show that you heard her plight and that you care. You do not know what this something should be, however. No words could ever console Gravedigger. They would never be enough. They can offer some balm, however, to be bereaved. And so after a pause, just long enough to be awkward, you offer your condolences. What else can you say?
Oh, no.
The Gravedigger.
Alright.
The Gravedigger replies, wiping a few stray tears away with the back of her arm.
It's alright. I've grown used to it, really. Being on my own, I mean. It ain't so bad, really. And I'm not alone now, at least. I've met you. You'll keep me company, won't you?
Well, what can you say that? You aren't callous enough to trample this poor girl's hopes, are you? You know full well yourself how awful that feels. You can do nothing but nod, a response which makes the girl smile more widely still.
Stop her!
She's so cute! I'm saving.
Yes. Maybe we could have a save for like each of the different areas.
Oh yeah, I do. Look.
Yeah. That's wonderful. I know you're just a traveler who's passing through, but I can offer you bread and board until you leave. I have food enough and a spare bedroom. I can make it up for you right now. You must be tired after your long journey. Just give me a moment.
The gravedigger rises to her feet in a flurry of excitement and retreats. You watch as she departs, a little too eager to please, and frown. The girl's home is a small, humble one with a low ceiling and slanted walls. You cannot imagine such a dwelling possessing a spare bedroom. This so-called spare bedroom is in all likelihood the room her father slept in before the plague carried him off. You do not think that you would much like to spend the night in the room of a dead man, but what choice do you have? You're tired, wretchedly so. Why, it is all you can do to keep your eyes open. While you were running through the forest, desperate to escape your pursuer, you had no thought in mind beyond finding some safe sanctuary in which you could recuperate. Now that you found said sanctuary, it would be unreasonable to find faults with it. You ought to learn to be more thankful for what you have. There are many, many people in the world with less. Jesus Christ! The door scared me! You rise and follow the gravedigger once she has finished her preparations to her so-called spare bedroom, which is every bit as cramped as you feared it would be. Are you claustrophobic? Well, not that claustrophobic. Jesus, it's not that small. That I can see. At least there's a bed which comes as... Jesus. The rest of the lodgings are so humble. You were half expecting a straw pallet. As tired as you might be, you cannot lie to yourself. You have no desire to sleep among the hay like an animal. The sheets of the bed are clean too, a fact you discern with a cursory glance, so you will not be expected to sleep upon the wet, soaked linen of a plague-ridden man after all. Really? You expected that? I bet after they died, they would have cleaned it. Jesus. This really is your lucky day.
I got you this too.
The gravedigger says somewhat shyly, as she hands you a folded gown.
To sleep in. I thought it might come in handy. Our own clothes are, a little shabby.
She can say that again. Your skirt is covered in mud and the hem is torn and ragged.
This nightgown is one of my old ones, so it's suffered a bit of wear and tear, but I hope it'll fit alright. It's clean if nothing else.
You accept the nightgown from your benefactress with words of thanks. You want to sound appropriately appreciative, but you cannot mask your fatigue. Weariness overcomes you and you yawn, a fact the gravedigger does not fail to notice.
Oh, begging your pardon. I don't want to keep you. I'll be making myself scarce. If you need anything, though, don't hesitate to ask. I'd be happy to help.
Gravedigger bows your head to you like a drudge, then hurries off, closing the door behind her with a thud. Tired though as you are, you soon find out that you rather miss your hostess's company. In the face of her good-natured smiles, you could almost forget all the hardships you had hitherto endured. In her absence, however, your lodgings feels almost unbearably cold and inhospitable. You suppress a shudder, then uphold yourself. You work as quickly as you're able, but your fingers are cold and they fumble with the buttons of your blouse. It takes you more time than you would like to complete this endeavor. But soon you have your shirt and your skirt dispensed with. You're too tired to fold them neatly, and you do not bother to fold them at all. Instead, you cast them carelessly upon the floor, as defiant as a sulky child, then pull on your nightgown. Your hostess's earlier warning were apt enough. It is quite warm, but it fits well enough. It is more comfortable, at least, than your old uniform. You have endured worse. Newly dressed and ready for bed, you loosen your hair from your braids and settle down among the sheets. It is with a sigh that you extinguish the weakly flickering candlelight which burns on your bedside. With another sigh that you lay your head upon your pillow. Though physically exhausted, you wonder whether you will be able to sleep at all. You can recall your previous dash through the forest in such a vivid detail that your heart is still pounding. That fear has yet to leave you. Perhaps it will never leave you. Your terror was such it almost feels as though it suffused itself into your bones, into your very being. But your exhaustion is greater than your worldly anxieties, and soon it claims you. Your eyelids fall shut and your breathing inevitably begins to even out. It's not long until you're spiraling through a dark, deep abyss, lost in Morpheus's kingdom. Who?
Morpheus is the Greek god of sleep.
That's a thing.
He's
That's a
the
thing.
Greek god of sleep, so yeah. The Greeks have a lot of gods and goddesses, even for minor stuff.
Huh. Huh.
Yep.
Okay. Not know that.
Uh-huh.
But your sleep, despite your weird state, is not as restorative as you had hoped. Your imagination has always been overactive, even at the conservatoire. You are frequently beset by the dreams of most vivid nature. The dreams that you have this night, lying beneath unfamiliar sheets upon an unfamiliar bed, are no less intense than usual. In your dreams, you are back at the conservatoire, the place where this adventure of yours began. You're wearing the crisp white blouse you once discarded and your grey, unremarkable skirt. Your hair is tied in braids and your eyes are downturned, forever focused upon your feet. You tried not to look at your classmates and you thought yourself fortunate that they did not look at you in return. You did not want anybody to notice you. Until that awful winter, that is, where everybody stopped paying attention to you for good. Nobody tried to trip you when you walked past them in the hallways. Nobody, in fact, so much as glanced at you. All of a sudden, there were no malicious whispers, no wicked laughter, and no pulled hair, and no thrown objects. You were giddy with relief at first over this newfound means of tormenting you that your classmates had devised. But this little game, that complete and utter disregard, continued on and on and on as the great days grew shorter and the nights grew longer. As time passed, you began to fret as to the state of your own corporeality. Could anybody still see you? Did you even exist at all? Then at long last you found it, quite by accident, the source of all your woes. One of the girls had erected it in the forest, which you were sometimes bidden to jog for PE class beneath the shade cast by an old oak tree. It was a makeshift tombstone, a small, meager monument made of stone, upon which one of your classmates had hung a name, your name. You knew at once as you stood there standing beneath the shade of an ancient tree that this was the reason behind your classmates' silence. This is why they had for many months been ignored you so assiduously. They had buried you. Their hearts you had already died. Jesus!
Damn!
Jesus! I can tell you this much, your friends slash classmates aren't nice at all to you. Just saying, maybe you should have like switched.
I don't think that was possible back then.
Mean. Okay, can you try the thingy again?
Yeah.
Try to be nice to yourself. Be nice.
Yeah, you should.
There
you
you
should be
go.
nice to yourself most of the time. You should
Hey,
be nice
just
to
need
yourself.
to connect your internet.
Take it from someone
to
who's not nice to themselves. You should be nice to yourself, okay?
or whatever.
Thank you. I shall be nice to myself. Jinjin. Your eerie dreams notwithstanding, you sleep more comfortably than you had anticipated. When you wake the following morning, the sweet chirping of bird song, you feel well rested, albeit woozy. Your head is aching. It is something, however, that a cup of hot tea cannot fix. I don't think they have a cup of tea. I think water. Stumble into the kitchen in your nightclothes, your hair loose and your feet bare. The grave digger turns to you. He looks at your face, which is pasty, and your under eyes, which are dark, and exclaims in a manner of one accustomed to solving problems and not complaining about them.
Oh, you look awful. I think you need something warm to drink. Maybe you need something to eat too. Let me get started on breakfast.
That is exactly what she does. Jesus, you are like a housewife and married. But like, why is this glowing blue? The thing around her neck. Huh. I think it's like a protection charm or something. Albeit I don't know. I don't know though. She gets started on breakfast, which proves to be quite a simple affair. Nothing like the luxurious food you were accustomed to in your past life. So essentially, I'm guessing either we're dead or we are like not really dead, but you know.
I think it has to do with the woman that we're running away from.
Huh. Yeah, who is that woman that we were running away from? The bread is hard enough to break your teeth on, and the cheese is a bit too strong. It's food all the same though, and you do not complain. Your stomach was beginning to grumble. The tea is inoffensive at least, and you drink it gratefully. You thank the grave girl for her hospitality, and she smiles in return, a sunny smile, like a field of blooming bellflowers.
It's no problem. Don't hesitate to ask me if you need anything else.
She says, words which to come to symbolize your relationship. You stay with the gravedigger for many, many more days, and limited though her means might be, she always tries to help you. The gravedigger sets you chores about the house to keep you occupied, a fact for which you are grateful. You need to do something to keep your mind off your frantic flight through the forest. You can almost forget about it now during the day. During the night, however, it returns to you. The sound of your feet against the foliage and the swirling fog. When you sleep, you're assailed by nightmares. Sometimes you wake after midnight, the sheet twisted around your body and your mouth gaping open in a paroxysm of terror. Try to tell yourself otherwise. You are still afraid. Being with the gravedigger makes you feel less so, though. Particularly when you are sweeping the floor or keeping an eye on the bread loaves so they do not burn. You attend to most of the domestic chores while the gravedigger concerns herself with the work she knows best, that is, digging graves. Her dogged persistence when it comes to this pursuit intrigues you. That's so much so that you cannot help but poise a question to her on one particular morning when the sky is festooned with clouds. Why, you ask her, perhaps a touch insensitively, do you continue to dig graves? There's nobody left, after all, to dig for. Is that my heartbeat right there? I can hear a little bit of something in the music or the SFX. You've always been practical and you cannot see the point in it.
What's the point in it?
The gravedigger ponders while holding her precious shovel to her chest. Fortunately, she does not seem upset by your question, despite its bluntness. You should count yourself lucky that her temperament is so very placid.
I suppose there is a point to it, really.
The gravedigger eventually says with a small smile.
I know it doesn't have any practical purpose, but,
Hi, Pog.
well, digging graves is what my father did. He showed me how to do it, so I should continue his legacy. My father wanted to keep our family tradition going, and I suppose I want to do the same. That's all there is to it, really.
That's all? Is it? You think you can understand that? Though your companion's actions might appear to be illogical, there is a kernel of reason nestled amongst them. She does not dig graves out of any sense of purpose. She does it instead out of sentiment.
Besides, I have to do something to keep myself busy, don't I? If I spent my days idling all on my own, I think I'd go mad.
The grave digger laughed at this, as though the prospect of her own madness is amusing. Her laugh, despite her slender stature, is not particularly delicate. It reminds you, perhaps unkindly, of the braying of a horse. You're ashamed of thinking such a thing, though, and your face flushes with the guilt of it. We cannot all be well-bred young ladies, you know. Well, goddamn. This character right here seems like a posh fucker. Fucking hell. At least. Yeah, what the fuck? Still. The laughter of the gravedigger as it echoes through the grey, gloomy sky is strangely desperate. Sounds forced. Her smile, too, is a touch unnatural, the rictus grin of a corpse. Fine, despite your attempts to return her laughter with a polite giggle that you cannot help but pity her. You retreat indoors briefly after your talk with the gravedigger, then set about some simple chores. The gravedigger trusts you well enough to manage sweeping a floor, a task which does not take particularly long in the preparing of meals, a task which takes slightly longer. It's not until much later, however, once the sun has already sunk beneath the horizon and the moon is high in the sky, that the gravedigger returns from the outdoors. She is windswept after many hours exposed to the elements, and there is dirt caked beneath her fingernails. The gravedigger removes her cloak, which she hangs by the door, then looks to the pot suspended over the fire, a fire which she stoked with your own fair hands. The scent of cooking food, that of garlic and onions, fills the air. Wow! They have now garlic and onions? Damn, they must have a farm or something. Suffusing the interior of the kitchen in a homey aroma which makes your stomach rumble. Taking stock of this, the gravedigger smiles at you, a toothy smile which, despite her status as a lowly peasant, really? Stop with that, please? Nobody has bright smiles like you, posh bitch. Surprisingly clean and bright and white. And what's wrong with that?
Thank you so much, dear one. There's nothing like returning home after a hard day's work to find dinner already prepared. Now, let me give it a test. Do I have a bad feeling?
The grave. How dare these peasants have clean teeth? Exactly! Like, what the fuck? Everyone has to have clean teeth or else they'll have literal cavities. Jesus!
Well, back then, I'm guessing this is more set in medieval times.
Yeah, but like, god damn, this is
rough. Really
rough.
have that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it's still rough though. Like, god damn. They have at least something to have their teeth with, you know.
Yeah,
Clean.
a rag and some water.
Yeah, and it's still enough to not have cavities that will literally rot your skull and shit.
Well, there's still natural yellowing from what you eat and stuff.
Yeah, but you know, it's better than nothing. The gravedigger dips a spoon into the soup, then brings it to her lips. She blows upon it. Then she places the spoon into her mouth, the wooden utensil cracking against her teeth. You observe this with a touch of anxiety. Would she like the food which you have prepared for her? You have cooked for her before in the past, and she has always been complimentary of your efforts. Yeah, I can't believe these serfs dare to have dental hygiene. Or hygiene at all. God damn. Wow. Cooking is not your forte, however. Never had to concern yourself with it really, growing up in relative comfort as you did. You think that you enjoy this rustic mode of existence more than you did any of the privileges of your past life. At least now, with the gravedigger, you have a steadfast friend, a staunch ally. When you are with her, you are not alone, and that is worth its weight in gold. The gravedigger explains after drawing the spoon from her lips. Her smile, a bright, guileless one?
Guileless, I think.
Guileless one.
It's delicious.
Your face is at this compliment. You're accustomed to receiving them, and it makes you feel good. Shyly, you ask the gravedigger if she truly means that, a query which makes the gravedigger smile.
Of course I mean it. You've become quite good at cooking. Really.
That's a relief. You're not very good at all this cooking malarkey in the beginning. This is a game where you date a medieval gravedigger. In the photos that
One of the options.
Yeah. In one of the options, there's like a water scene or whatever. And then there's this, the gravedigger, the village. And then the other one is a castle. But at the photos, I've seen that there are like 3 characters.
Yeah, and near the beginning mode, she had 3 different pathways she could take.
Yeah.
The shore, the village, and the castle.
Yeah. And I made my own shoes. I made my own shoes. You did not know how to handle a knife, nor how to peel a vegetable, and you cut yourself more than once. You bled into the soup on several occasions, but never once did you throw the solid soup out. The grave... Wait!
Bruh.
If she's dead, then how is she still bleeding?
I think it has to do with that woman she's running away from. Because it did say past life.
Past life? Huh. I wonder. Even the
Either she wasn't really dead, or it was a really cruel prank that her classmates pulled on her.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe it's a cruel prank.
Yeah.
You know, where the classmates was like, oh, she's dead, rip. But actually, she's alive and, you know.
Yeah.
Lives a humble existence and she cannot afford to waste her precious ingredients. Your soups during your stay have all been seasoned with the slightest hint of effort. Today's soup, however, is a marked step above the rest. You did not cut yourself with the knife even once. Maybe your companion's compliments are not empty fluff. Maybe you really are improving.
The soup should be ready to serve. I have some bread too that we can eat it with. Oh, I should brew some tea too. Let me.
Ah yes, the tea. You knew that you were forgetting something. You were so focused on the soup, it must have slipped your mind like soup! Your face flushes yet again at this oversight, and shyly you offer to correct it. The gravedigger, however, waves your request aside.
Oh no, it's alright. I made the dinner, so I'll brew the tea. It's only fair, and it won't take that long Would you mind serving up the soup while I'm busy?
Of course you would not mind. You do enjoy making yourself useful. For a lady, you're awfully domestic. Like a dog. You work alongside the gravedigger to finish your nightly meal, and together you serve it hot soup and bread. Along 2 cups of piping hot tea prepared by the hostess's own 2 hands. You sit together at the table,
When are
then...
we gonna know her name?
I know! I wanna know her name!
Well, if she's not gonna have a name...
Name her!
then-
Name her! What's her name?
Hold on.
You sit together at the table, then partake in this simple fare after saying grace. The soup is really is quite good, despite being made from the only the most commonplace of ingredients. Really? There is a bit of a kick to it, and it warms you from the inside out. That's good. The tea, meanwhile, is very soothing, so much so it makes you feel rather sleepy. You would like to sit with the gravedigger for a little while longer and tell stories, as you have sometimes in the past. That or play cards. I don't think they have a store for cards, you know, like... Nights are long, and there's no better way to pass them than spending time with her. Games of old maid will have to wait. You are too tired for it. You do not know what has happened, but after consuming your visuals, you are utterly fatigued. You explain your predicament to the gravedigger between your yawns, and she nods in response.
How about... Okay, I have a couple options.
Okay, hit me!
Alva or Bianca?
Alva.
Alva? Okay, she is Alva.
She's canonically Alva now. Nobody can fight us with this! Ah! Okay, now, line. Yes.
That's alright. You don't need to stay up with me. Not if you ain't up to it. You should head off to bed and rest that pretty head of yours.
You do not think you're particularly pretty. See? See? You presume that the gravedigger is just regurgitating a phrase to you. She does not really mean it. How could she? She's far prettier than you are. Exactly! She's so much. Look at her! Look at her! Ah!
I want to twirl my fingers in her hair.
I want to feel her hair, and even if I bet you it's soft.
I bet it glows very pretty in the moonlight. Like a little moon.
You thank the gravedigger for her understanding, then rise from the table. You retreat to the spare bedroom on trembling legs, then change out of your clothes. You have only just slid into your nightgown when you hear the rapping of knuckles upon your front door. Light and obtrusive. This rapping could, of course, belong but to one person. It is the gravedigger, come to check up on you.
I'm sorry.
The gravedigger says in her voice soft.
But you rushed to your room so soon after eating. I couldn't help but worry about you. Would you mind if I took a look at you? I just want to see if you're alright. What?
The gravedigger is trying to keep her voice steady, but you can hear it wavering regardless. She really does sound concerned so much so she could very well be on the brink of tears. You don't want her to cry for you. You would feel horribly guilty if you upset her, even inadvertently, given all that she's done for you. You bid the gravedigger entry to your room, therefore without further delay and invitation she hastens to take. The door swings inwards with a creak, and their hostess stands. still are attired in black. Her clothes a stark contrast to your pure white, well, off-white nightgown. The gravedigger looks at you seated in the bed with your hair freed from your usual braids and exhales. Is that a relief, you wonder? Something about her face? But why? What was she expecting to see exactly before entering your bedchamber? Man.
Thank you for letting me in.
Gravedigger says, toying with her fingers.
How do you feel?
Not too terrible, you reassure her. There are no particular problems with your health. You just feel tired.
Are you sure you're not sick? Your face does look a bit pale.
That will be nothing of the norm. You're always pale.
True. Now, is there anything I can do for you? Would you like something warm to drink, or maybe a hot brick to place in your bed? It should keep you warm.
You appreciate your hostess' thoughtfulness, but you reassure her that this won't be necessary. You will be fine.
I hope so. I thought that about my father too before he...
The gravedigger begins, but her voice soon trails off. She does not finish that thought. She does not need to. You know now what she was thinking of before she entered your bedroom. Cold, clammy skin, a sweating brow, rank, oozing pustules. You think upon these symptoms which are eerily similar to those recounted during the Great Plague which once beset your own country, and you shudder. You do not...
If you don't want anything, then I'll be on my way.
The gravedigger says...
Before that,
Before that?
this was just a fancy on my part. I was wondering, would you mind if I brushed your hair for a little while?
My hair?
That's right. It's such a pretty shade of red is all. I just thought... Oh, so okay, so our character has red hair.
Yes! Man!
I just thought, well, it's just a fancier, really. You don't have to let me, not if you don't want to. I thought it might help you relax if you're feeling under the weather. I've heard it's supposed to be soothing.
That is what the gravedigger says, but you have a distinct feeling that she's the one looking for solace here. She is not...
I'm looking at the page for the game, and I think the character has kind of pinkish hair.
reddish pink,
Guess so.
maybe auburn
Yeah.
or something.
No, it looked very pink.
Okay, she's not quite so selfless, perhaps she would like you to think, but she has been so very good to you and has done so very much for you that you do not want to begrudge her of this small self-indulgence. You rather think she deserves it. You agree, therefore, to her request, and upon doing so, you are certain you have made the right choice. Your hostess's face lights up immediately in a manner which makes you blush.
Oh, thank you. It'd be my honor. Now, let me fetch my brush.
The gravedigger retreats from your room in a hurry but returns soon thereafter, holding in her right hand the promised brush. This artifact required. The gravedigger then settles herself upon your bed by your side. She looks at your hair for a few moments, her expression pensive. Then she announces that she will begin. The gravedigger leans in. The wooden frame of the bed creaks under her weight, a creak which melds with the sighing of the breeze outdoors. You can feel the bristles of the brush running through your hair. It is soothing enough, so much so it makes you shiver. The sensation is a pleasant one, and somewhat nostalgic. Did your mother do this for you, you wonder? When you were a little girl? If she did, it must have been when you were a very little girl. You have not seen your mother in quite some time, not after you enrolled at the conservatoire.
Oh, you have such lovely hair, dear one. Soft, just like silk. Not at all like mine. Mine is so coarse.
This gentle voice draws you out of your vague, half-formed reminiscences. Sounds as though the gravedigger has lost nostalgia of her own, because her voice, when next she speaks, is dreamy.
I think my mother used to brush my hair like this. For me, back when she were still alive. Must have been a long time ago, though.
It is funny, you think, as the bristles of the brush continue to slide through your tresses, that you and the gravedigger should both be reminiscing in tandem about your respective mothers. Perhaps there is something maternal in the act of brushing one's hair, which is wont to summoning forth such images. I would not know personally. I cannot remember my own mother at all.
I don't think I like to have my hair brushed very much.
The gravedigger continues, her breath warm against the exposed nape of her. That's a little spicy right there, my god.
My mother used to complain that I squirmed too much. I can remember that. Alright, Mochi,
Yes?
I am gonna have to head upstairs soon. But I will be right back.
Okay.
So I will be right back, and I poopeth the Mochi.
You good. You good. She always told me to sit still, though it wasn't my fault I squirmed. She used too much force. Now this is curious. Sounds as though the reminiscences of the gravedigger are not particularly fond at all. Did she not get along with her mother? I can't really say. The gravedigger replies in a somber sort of voice. I was young, like I said, when she died. I don't remember her too well. But I don't think she ever had that much time for me. She was too busy with all the cooking and cleaning. Oh, and looking after my baby brothers. But she had the time enough, despite that, to brush her hair? She did what she felt she had to. Make me look presentable. Not that it really worked. Wasn't like the other girls in my village, you see, who liked to sit indoors with their mothers and sew. I'd always loved the outdoors. My father said I inherited that from him. Ruefully, the gravedigger smiled. Not that you can see it with your own back facing her. My mother said I wasn't very, well, matey. She didn't like that. I always trapezed around outside after my father, watching us eat old graves. She said it wasn't appropriate, like I was some sort of princess, wearing a fine dress. The gravedigger snorts. I used to get a bit muddy, yes, and maybe I did get burns in my clothes and knots in my hair, but it shouldn't have mattered. It's not like I have any hopes of marrying a prince, no matter what my mother said. But still, she hoped. She had lots of hopes. My mother, high hopes. I think she might have resented my father. Maybe for working such a menial job. A profession is an honest one, but it's never made much money. Think of my mother was hoping for fine jewels and dresses and... oh, I don't know. She always had her ideas. Her head was full of fairy tales. It was a shame, I suppose, that her reality didn't up to what she wanted. I didn't match up to what she wanted. The bitterness in your friend's voice is unmistakable, so much so that you want to console her. Please! What would you say to her, though? Never met your companion's mother. Never will either. Your cold, inert body has been laying in the graveyard, buried beneath a tombstone over a decade. You have no way of discerning whether your companion's mother truly cared for her. But you do have intelligence, though, however, to understand that poorly thought out condolences can cause more harm than good. Would you not like it if people tried to reassure you that of course your father loved you really? If he loved you, then why did he send you away from home? Why did he never send you any letters? You know he was worried about his finances, but that seems a poor excuse to pretend that his only daughter did not exist. As for your own mother, meanwhile, she was nice. At least you think she was. She was woefully ineffectual, though she was nominally an adult. She always cleaved before your father's judgment. You think she was afraid of him. You do not try to tell the gravedigger, therefore, that her mother loved her. She must have done, else she would have not been birthed there. Instead, you sit her there, letting the brush run through your hair, and you say quietly that you understand. Sometimes you feel like a disappointment yourself. Well, the gravedigger says after a pause, glad I'm not the only one. I guess it happens to all of us. You guess so. Parents are the only people, after all. While one would hope one's parents would be kind and attentive, they too can fall victim to caprices of their own. Just because one has brought a child to this world does not mean one will be able to take care of it properly. Not all parents are responsible, just as not all people are responsible. It's a painful subject. Oh well, it's alright if my mother never liked me, or even if she never loved me. I know my father did, and that's all that matters. He was always there for me, no matter what. Hi, man. Oh, did you accidentally leave the VC? Oh, there you go. I was voicing your character for a little bit, but now you can voice them. Your companion's voice catches in her throat. She winces.
At least until he wasn't. He died. And I didn't do a thing to help him.
The companion's shoulders are beginning to shake. You still cannot see her, but you can feel her body convulsing. You can sense her loneliness rolling off in waves. It is all-consuming, like the waters of a deep, dark ocean. A grief anew pierces your heart, not on your behalf, but for the sake of your benefactress. She does not deserve to suffer so much. This, you have no qualms with telling her. Turn to face her and pluck the brush that has been hovering in the air inert from her fingers. Then you let her know that her father's death was not her fault. What could she have done? She could have not cured his illness.
I know. I can't help but think. What if? Keep racking my head over and over, trying to come up with something. But I can't think of anything. Even if I could, it's too late. He's already dead. He's dead and buried. I buried him. And now I'm all alone.
She might have been alone, you told the gravedigger, but she isn't now, not anymore. How can she be when you're there?
I know that. I know, and I'm grateful. I don't know if I deserve it.
Why would she not deserve your company? You do not understand.
Because I couldn't do nothing for nobody. My father always looked out for me when I was a little girl. But when he needed me the most, I failed him. I failed everyone. All of the villagers, all of my friends, all died. What would I do if the same thing happened to you? I don't think I could bear it. I don't want you getting sick too. Not when I care about you so much. I thought I'd gotten used to being on my own. Now that you're here, it's making me worry all over again. I've been worrying so much, I can't sleep from it. I'm scared.
Your companion's voice catches in her throat. Then she collapses in on herself. She leans forwards, her arms wound about her middle as if to steady herself, and she cries. She cries and she cries and she cries. For a few moments she looked at the gravedigger, unsure of what to do. Her pale face, streaked with silvery tears, seemed to flicker in the candlelight. Her shoulders, which seemed too slender to bear a cumulative weight of all the sorrows she has endured, are shaking. Your fatigue continues to cling to you, as insistent as the fog which rolls amongst the tombstones in the graveyard at night. You are not so very tired, however. You cannot offer your hostess some comfort. You do know what you can say to console her. You feel too weary to think of pretty sophisms. But there is something you can't think of. You will not typically be so bold, of course, but you are tired enough. For once, throw caution to the wind, and the tears of the grave digger are awfully arresting. You open your arms and before the grave digger can pass comment, you pull her to your chest.
Oh,
A soft exclaim escapes from the lips of the grave digger, quieter than the sound of the wintry snow as it brushes the ground. Then there is nothing. The grave digger stiffens your arms for a few minutes like the corpses she and her father used to seal away inside their wooden coffins. She is all wide eyes and awkward pointed elbows, tears still coursing down her pale cheeks. You worry briefly as you hold her that you have perhaps made a mistake. Were your attempts at consoling her too clumsy? You would not know. You have never been in a situation like this before. You have never consoled any friends before because you have never had any friends to console. It is not so now, however. You are far away. You are as far away from your old life as it is possible to be, and the gravedigger does not curse you for your impudence. Neither does she try to squirm away from you. Instead, she sits there, still as a statue cradled in your arms.
I'm very sorry to show you something so embarrassing. It gets so lonely sometimes.
Until at long last, with a breathy sob, she lets the full weight of her body fall against yours. You run your hands against your sobbing companion's shoulder blades and her neck, and gently you soothe her. Tell her that she does not need to apologize. There is no shame in crying. You hug her for many, many minutes while she sobs against your chest, wetting the front of your nightgown. No further words pass between you that night, but they do not need to. Words are irrelevant in a moment as tender as this, shared between two souls who have come to understand one another through mutual loneliness. You slide beneath your sheets, you feel exhausted, and the gravedigger joins you without asking for permission. Yes! Yeah! They're in bed with us! They're with us in the bed! Ah!
It's the gay Snuggles!
Ah! It would be an unnecessary piece of politeness, really, given in your acceptance is all but assured. You've already accepted the gravedigger after all, every single inch of her! Yeah! My camera fell when I did that. You have accepted her hospitality. You have accepted food. Now you're accepting her company. You arrange yourself beneath the sheets, then draw her body to your... The gravedigger has not yet changed into her nightwear. Her clothes will be horribly rumpled when she awakes come the following morning, her head resting against your chest, but tomorrow has ceased to matter. It no longer exists. There is no concept of time between the two of you. No thought of the day which dawn once this night inevitably ends. Instead, there's only the warmth shared between you, and the wetness on the cheeks of the gravedigger. There is the sound, irregular now, less intense than before. Fuck. I didn't know what it said. I'm too afraid to press this, so I'm just gonna... Okay. The sound irregular now, less intense than before, of your companion's muted, muffled sobs. There is this gentle, tender moment snatched in the mist of a deep, dark night, which can never be replaced. Your eyelids feel heavy as though weighted down with stones. They droop inexorably downwards, pulling you, like a drowning maiden, into a dark, impenetrable abyss of slumber. You yawn. When you fall asleep, cozied up beside the gravedigger like two cats in a basket. You sleep and you sleep and you sleep more deeply than you have allowed yourself in quite some time. But when you awake, you find that you're no longer the bed upon which you slept. It is surrounded by sheets. The gravedigger, too, is nowhere to be seen. Instead, you're quite alone, lying by yourself in the dark. You blink, but your surroundings do not become clearer. Is it the middle of the night? Perhaps you were aroused by your slumber by desire to relieve yourself, or else to slake your thirst. Your sleep has been awfully disordered as of late, and the smallest of noises have been enough to disturb you. That does not sound quite right, though. You slept well, of that you are certain. Your body feels invigorated, as though it has slumbered for hours and hours. How many hours? You do not know. You do not know much of anything. You can feel a strange pinching sensation around your chest, however, and around your arms. It would appear as though somebody... But who else could have been... But who else could it have been, say, gravedigger? Change your attire while you were sleeping. That is a startling thought, but the darkness which entombs you is even more so. The darkness which surrounds you is unsettlingly complete. It is so thick you cannot penetrate it. Your newfound woes do not stop, however. This deep, unnatural darkness is cold too. Are you laying upon something hard? Some sort of stone slab? What is going on? You reach out, but your movements are too dismayed. There's something heavy lying on top of you, something that is limiting your movements. You were anxious before upon waking, but at this discovery you feel downright aggrieved. A sharp prong of panic pierces you, but you try to suppress it. Hysterics will get you nowhere. In most cases, they only tend to make bad situations even worse. You ought to know that already. You allow your mounting dread as best as you can, though it is coming on a thick and fast, and try to squirm. You move your arms out.
On the website, I'm just like, please don't let this be part of the gravedigger line. And now that I see it, I'm just like, God fucking damn it.
You move your arms outwards, but they do not get it very far. There's a wall above you and walls on either side of you. Walls which do not budge no matter how hard you push. Not, I must add, that you can push particularly hard, your anxious state notwithstanding. You have never been in much in the way of upper body strength, no lower body strength. You do not have much in the way of strength at all. You feel quite helpless as you lie there, out of breath from your meager exertions, unsure of what you should do. You can hardly see a foot in front of your face. You do not know where you are, nor why, but a terrible premonition is beginning to bear upon you. One initially you tried to discard. You did not want to accept it as a possibility. But where else could the truth lie? You're lying in the box, hemmed in by walls which offer only a scant of few inches for you to stretch in any direction. Where else could you be but the coffin? The moment you allow yourself to ponder this awful reality is the moment you hear it. The regular sound of drumming. It is as though somebody, though they must be a very large somebody, is tapping their fingertips upon the lid of your coffin. That or it's raining. It is not the fingers of a giant testo which is disturbing you, nor is it falling rain. It is dirt. The sound continues on and on, though it's drilling its way inside your skull. It is relentless. It is merciless. Like the ticking of a great celestial clock, it cannot be stopped. Time is almost running out, but you knew that already, didn't you? When you're running through the forest, you ought to have known, silly thing, that you could not outpace your destiny forever. Sooner or later, it would catch up with you. You are stubborn, though, and you do not want to accept this. Not content to simply lie there, you cry out. You cry not for your parents whom you hardly knew. Hi, fish! Nor for your school friends, for you had never had any. Hi! What's up? Instead, you cry out for your new companion, the girl with whom you've been living, and with whom you shared one precious cherished moment. You cry out for the gravedigger. Surely this is some manner of mistake. Once she realizes that you are in fact entombed with one of the coffins she's currently filling, for who else would be moving the dirt above you, she will cease her operations at once. She will pull you out of the darkness and back into the world of the living. And then she will hold you close. She will embrace you. She cannot mean to cause you any harm when she was so good to you and so kind. Why would she bury you? You cry to her so loudly, you fear your vocal cords might tear, all the while banging at the roof of your compact prison. You cry desperately, helplessly, and to your relief, your cries do not fall upon deaf ears. The sound of falling soil stops, albeit briefly. Then you hear a voice. The voice is very faint, given it's being filtered through your coffin's sturdy lid, but you recognize it.
So, you're awake then, are you, dear one?
The gravedigger says. She sighs, then she says in a perplexed sort of voice,
Now, that is a pickle. I was hoping you'd be asleep a couple hours more, so the last time we spoke could have been on better terms. If you keep screaming like that, I'm going to feel bad.
Your companion's words, though distant, are unmistakable. You're so tense you are to every single syllable, and each of them makes you grasp. Was this not a mistake then? Did she truly mean to bury you alive? You voice this question to the gravedigger as best as you can, trying to keep the tremors from your voice as you do. Perhaps you think, in your optimism, that if you do not let you know how afraid you are, she will reward you for your bravery and let you go. If this is what you are hoping, though, it is in vain.
That's right. You really do catch on quick.
So it really appeared that she has committed the task of burying you. What an unfortunate turn of events. Why, though? Why would she do such a thing? You thought she was your friend.
We are friends.
The gravedigger says, her voice still worryingly offhand, worryingly empty.
I'm very fond of you. There's nobody dearer to me than you. I've had a really good time with you these last... How long's it been again? I don't remember.
Neither do you. Well, if this little detail has slipped both your minds, it can't be all that important. You have other things to worry about. If you really are friends, you say to the gravedigger, then what does she hope to gain by burying you? You do not understand. But you do understand her reply even less.
Well, here's the thing.
The gravedigger says in a reasonable sort of voice, as though burying somebody alive could ever be thought as a reasonable action.
I've been digging graves for a long time, see?
You cannot see. It is too dark, but you affirm that you do all the same.
Well, I was digging all these graves, but I've not had anybody to put them in. Not for ages. It was rather sad.
You think you know where this train of logic towards as though it is. You might be going, so you not interrupt her.
God
You-
damn it, Alva.
You know no good would come of it, and all you can do for the present is lie there and listen.
I was thinking I'd never find another person to bury in this godforsaken village. Not after the plague messed everything up. I was getting desperate. Until you came along, that is. Now that I've had somebody I can bury, I'm not gonna let the opportunity pass me by. I'm sorry, but this is just part of my job. It's what my father taught me to do. It's all I know how to do. I buried my mother, and I buried my father. I buried all of my friends. Now I'm going to bury you, too.
It is sound logic in a sense, as the daughter of a gravedigger, digging graves is her job. But something about it rankles you. If only you could put your finger on it. Ah yes, there's a bit of flaw with her reasoning, is there not? You are not dead after all.
Might not be dead now,
The gravedigger says in response to your ingenuity.
but you will be, if you give it enough time. I mean, everybody else I've ever known's died. Who's to say you wouldn't be next?
It seems rather more likely that you will die, and quickly if she persists with her poorly thought out plan to bury you. Your coffin is not very large, it affords you precious little space. Eventually, if trapped within it long enough, you will run out of oxygen, then you will suffocate. That or you will starve to death. Either way, your demise will be a slow, painful one. You're unsure which death would be worse, though given how precarious your situation is, you do not wish to expend the necessary energy needed to ponder it. You need to plead with the gravedigger, and quickly, while she's still here. You need to tell her tearfully that you will not leave her. Why would you? Try to sound as convincing as your disordered nerves will allow, but the gravedigger remains unmoved.
You say that,
She says,
but how can I know you're telling the truth? I thought you said you were a traveler. They never stay put in one place for long. You'd get sick of me before long. Then you'd leave me. This way, at least, I can be assured that we'll always stay together. If I bury you like I did the others, we'll never be far apart. I even took care to put you in a nice spot, close to my home. So you're only a stone's throw away, really. Isn't that nice?
privately, you think that the gravedigger has a different conception of the word nice to you. You do not say this, however. You cannot say much of anything because panic has begun to set in. It is choking you, stopping from up your throat. So you can only cry, you scream, you beg and you plead, but it does little good. The gravedigger has already buried her mother. She has already buried her little brothers. She has even buried her father, whom she loved above all else. She thinks by burying you that she's doing unto you a great act of kindness. You think that she's going to... In a sense, you are both right. Your options are so diametrically opposed in this matter, however, that you will be never be able to find any common ground. This will save your screaming. She will not listen to you. She's beyond listening.
Just shush, dear one.
She says the gravedigger very gently as she spoke last night, when she confided in you of all her fears.
It won't be so bad, really. Nothing will be able to hurt you down there. It'll be just like going to sleep for a really, really long time. You can rest, and while you rest, I'll tend to you. I'll plant flowers on your grave. You'd like that, wouldn't you? This way we can always be together. I'll never be lonely again.
While the gravedigger speaks, she begins to pile even more soil onto the roof of your coffin. The sound of dirt on top of you, on your arms, your legs, your head, conceals your companion's final words. You cannot hear her. You cannot hear anything beyond the sounds of dirt and the scrapings of the shovel, and your own desperate, frantic screams. You scream and you scream and scream without cease until your throat feels hoarse, but your efforts are in vain. You hammer on the lid of the coffin with much strength as you can muster, but the lid of the coffin is nailed shut. You are in no position to remove it. All you can do is lie there, screaming, crying, and banging your fists on the roof of the coffin over and over as more dirt and debris falls on top of you. Eventually, enough dirt falls on you to stifle your screams for good. The gravedigger can no longer hear you, and you can no longer hear her. You're all alone, trapped in a narrow wooden box, which, regardless of what you want, is now your new home. You can smell the soil in the back of your nostrils when you inhale. It is so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You can taste the eventual inevitable decay of your You'll remain trapped here underground forever and ever, or, to use less melodramatic terms, until the last of your energy escapes you and you succumb to your own soul. It is a very pleasant way to go, but you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. And will they try to fight against it? Oh shit. What do I do? Fight?
Let's see the bad ending first.
Accept? Okay. Very well then, enjoy your eternal slumber. I suppose it's good night for now, but this is not goodbye. You cannot escape from me even if you are buried deep beneath the earth. Where there's a will, there is a way. And even if the whole world has forsaken you, I never will. I will never leave you. You will never be lonely again. Who is talking to me in my brain?
I don't know.
Okay, let me see if I fight against my fate. Are you not happy with the hand that fate has dealt you? Very well. Cannot blame you. It is quite a grim ending. I would not wish it upon my worst enemy. And you're rather dearer to me than that. Now why don't we give this another go? Just try not to be buried alive this time. I can only endure so much of your screaming. Your fate is, once again, in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take?
Oh.
What? What? Nani? Nani?
I do remember a mentioning of cannibalism on the page, so I think that might be the shore. I also remember a image of you being locked up in some kind of dungeon, so I think that might be the castle.
Jesus.
So what do we want to do? Imprisonment or cannibalism? By fish woman.
I don't know. What do I do?
Just do the eeny meeny.
I don't know. What can I do?
Eeny meeny miny mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny meeny miny mo, my mother told me to be the very best one, and you are not it. Okay, it's castle.
Do we really have to go to the castle? I don't wanna. I feel this game is horrible. And we're starting with it? We started with that?
One game with the gay boys was horrible.
Wait, which one?
The gay boys, the one with the pink hair and the black hair. The
Huh?
one that kept getting killed over and over again.
Huh? That's a game?
You played that game.
I did?
Yes.
Pink-haired boy that keeps dying over and over?
Chat, do you not remember Mochi playing a game like that?
Do you mean pink-haired girl?
No, it was a pair of gay boys. I think the boy was named like Raven or something. Or Crow.
Oh, he doesn't die. Wait. Are we thinking of the same game? I don't, I'm thinking of Our Life. Is it
I
that
think
game?
that was it.
No,
me
he
look it
doesn't
up.
die.
Let me look it up.
I just wanted to do other saves. Can we just go with the you know?
Oh no, not the green-haired boy.
Okay, I guess you're talking
it was,
about missed messages?
No. Chat, help me out here, please. I know it was a game. I know it was a game you did.
A pink-haired boy and a guy named Raven?
Or Crow.
Is it To the Moon? Is it To the Moon?
Oh, it's not To the Moon.
No? When the past was around? Did I do this recently or before?
No, it was a while ago.
Heh. Huh? I don't remember. Grimm's Hollow? Wait, I didn't play that on stream.
Oh.
First Bite? I played that on stream. Doki Doki?
No.
Error.
I remember it being specifically a gay couple of teens. And the pink-haired boy is the one that gets killed the most. And the black-haired boy is trying to stop it by discovering the secrets.
No, I don't have that
Like,
type of game.
No, like, the first... Like, after their initial date, the black-haired boy finds the pink-haired boy dead on the ground from, like, a shot to the head. And then gets killed in the back. And then gets killed from behind by a
that one!
funny
That one is
masked woman.
H.I.O. I think that's... Sophia? Sophie?
Yes, Sophia! Sophie. Yes, it was Sophie.
Yeah, that's an H.I.O. game. It's not a Steam game.
I never said it was a Steam game.
I didn't know that you were talking. Okay, but yeah, I get it. That game. Why were we talking about that game again?
Because it's another dark game that you played.
Oh yeah, it's not completed. I don't think. I'm just gonna go to the shore because I want the yeah. So you want to go to the shore? Good idea. Where you go? This night is hard. I do. Follow the path to the shore. It's of a girl. Do not know. Feet of foot. Surely there's a. Okay. You'll have sick, but it's. You don't know. You're only imagining. You run to the shore. How much time you ask? I cannot answer that. I did not say. Okay. Still cold though. Start 2. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon. Moonlight. Spec rocks. What are you to do? There's little way of civilization here. The cliffs are far from the village. How far? You do not know. You cannot see any houses. Where exactly will you rest your weary head? And what of your weary legs? Fitfully look around. There's nobody to your east or your west. There is no point in the south. And when you look to the north, the world falls away from you. The cliffs are too steep to scale. It's too dark. Naturally, there's not a soul here to help you. You're on your own. You feel so overwhelmed you could very well cry. You do not cry, however. You know that tears have never helped anyone. You got yourself into it. Now you need to get yourself out of it. A lung full of salty oceanic air, then you keep away at the edge of the cliffs, afraid you might slip and take a sudden unfortunate tumble to the abyss below. I can hear a siren's call right there. I can hear it slightly. Do you hear that? Like a little bit of singing?
No, I'm on my phone. I don't have my headphones on.
Ah. It's a little singing. You're not as attached to your mortal body as some humans are, but you do not want to die. You still care for yourself, if only a little. And it is this sense of self-preservation which compels you onwards. Okay. Surely you can, what's that over there? Could it be a roof? The small and squat, you cannot imagine it contain. Certainly, okay.
Why are you not reading?
It's because it's like we kind of went through this before in a way. It's not as though you, well, you know.
Unless you secretly did this past fountain.
No, I didn't. No, I mean like when we went via the village route, some of these words are the same.
Okay.
You know, it would be foolish. It was a but necessarily means empty, see? It's rather late at night, whoever lives here, if anybody might asleep. You cannot imagine the owners of rouse so very late at night. Otherwise, you will never get anywhere! You swallow, the taste of salty breeze is pungent in the back of your nostrils. Then you run and drop quietly, but you did not hear any resultant shuffling inside the cottage. Perhaps you did not use enough strength. Emboldened, you rub your knuckles on the front more loudly this time. You wait for... Perhaps the cottage is unoccupied after all. You knock for a third time, then wait. But for all that, your knocking goes unanswered. Well, nobody can say that you did not try. More intrigued than anxious, your fingers find a handle of the door. You pull it down, and to your surprise, it yields easily. The door swings back for you, as if by magic. Feels as almost as if this was preordained. Hey, okay. You step foot inside the cottage, which is very dark, and glance around. This is hard to see, given the lateness of the hour, but the cottage's interior is about as inspiring as its exterior, which is to say, not very. It is every bit as small and cramped as you fancied when you observed it from the outside. There are a few cupboards which line the walls, as a wood fire which has been extinguished, and a straw pallet on the floor which must function as a bed. You're certain unsuccessful. However, when it comes to trying to locate other humans, you cannot find another soul. Surely that is to your benefit, though? If nobody else lives here, then you might as well make it yourself at home. Or as at home as one could be, I suppose, in a small cramped cottage such as this with holes on the roof. Close the door behind you, then approach the straw pallet. All of a sudden, you feel incredibly weary. Tiredness assails to your limbs so intense it overcomes the last of your concerns. Settle down upon the straw pallet, getting as you do. It's not comfortable, but being able to lie down eases some of your aches and pains. Lying down even on an uncomfortable makeshift bed such as this one is better than standing. It is far better than nothing. Your eyelids fall shut, your eyelashes melting together, and soothed by the sounds of the wind and the distant rolling of waves, you fall asleep. Then you begin to dream. Not common, of course, to dream. The best and worst of us do it, from the queens in their castles to the peasants sleeping in the straw. Why, who is to say that all you have observed tonight has not, in a sense, been a dream of its own? Would that make your nighttime fancies then a dream inside a dream? Perhaps your dreams are empty, hollow things stacked inside one another like wooden dolls. Is that not a whimsical thought? How very droll. Your dreams, however, cannot be called whimsical, and neither are they particularly droll. They are not pure fabrications as dreams sometimes are, fleeting fancies which can never come to pass. Your dreams are rather more pernicious of sort. In your dreams, you are at the conservatoire. Your red hair tied back with two prim proper braids. You're walking through the courtyard, clutching your books to your chest as you make your way to the library. Your head is bowed as to not... Yep. You do not want to meet their eyes. These girls with their sensible braids and their sensible shoes are merciless. You hunch your shoulder together and stream your sewer so as not to draw their attention, but alas, it is not enough. You fall in just like that. All eyes are upon you. They are staring at you. They are laughing at you. You lay there on the ground by the fountain, your books scattered and your skirt in a woeful state disarray. Your knee hurts. Is it bleeding? You examine your injured leg, trying not to cry, and as this transpires, you hear a voice. One of your classmates is calling out to you. She has acknowledged you. You look up shyly, tears beading into your eyes. A girl taller than you, and prettier, and much more refined. She extends her hands towards you. Does she mean to help you? It cannot hurt to try, can it? You reach out to accept her offered aid. Her fingers curl around yours tightly, perhaps too tightly. Her nails dig into your skin. It hurts. Deftly, the girl pulls you onto your feet. Your legs feel weak from your fall, and your knee is still aching, still bleeding. You stumble, feeling out of sorts, but you are not afforded much of an opportunity to gather your bearings. The girl's hands are on your shoulders. She's laughing at you. Then she's pushing you. The sound of the fountain and the running water which drums against his basin is all of a sudden very loud. It's overwhelming. It surrounds you, then it engulfs you. It is as cold as ice. You cannot breathe. And the rushing of water continues, echoing in your eardrums over and over, and then... No, you do not want to remember this. What good would it do? It's in the past, where it ought to remain. You are never going to go back, not even in your dreams. This is a determination which forces you back into the world of the waking with a start. You gasp like a fish as you sit upright, your eyes unnaturally wide. You feel weird from a lack of sleep, and with half-lidded eyes you glance about. It's still dark inside your cottage. The sky visible from beyond the window splashed still with stars. How long were you asleep? You're not sure. Your dream was so very detailed that it really did feel like you had been transported into a different time, into a different place. When you inhale, you can taste rank, foetid water in your mouth. Tentatively, you pat yourself down, your fingers trailing against the front of your uniform. So vivid was your dream, you half expect to find that your clothes are damp. This is not the case, however. You are in fact perfectly dry. Now, what will you do? Will you go back to sleep? That sounds like the best option available to you. You are very tired, but your senses feel too overwrought. All of a sudden, for sleep, you do not think you could bear it. On unsteady legs, you rise to your feet and then stand by the window. You look out to the starry sky and to the pitted moon which hangs amongst them, and you frown. You hear the wind outdoors howling like an injured animal, and more softly the ebb and flow of the waves as they meet the cliffs. But that is not all. What is that sound? It's almost like singing. The voice is far away enough that you cannot pick out any individual words, nor even the individual syllables, but there is a haunting quality to it all. The singer, whoever they are, possesses quite a pretty voice, high and clear like a bell. The song is a melancholy one, which stirs your heart. Curiosity takes root inside of you, as it did during that fateful day you found that book in the library. Mochi, going to bed, have a good rest of your stream. Okay, see you. Also, I did not see what Fish said. I don't think if Fish said anything. Logically, you should not go outdoors to seek the source of the singing, but emotionally, that is another matter altogether. You really should have learned your lesson by now. You should know better than to go sticking your nose into business which does not concern you. But naughty little girls such as you do never learn. Okay, just stop. You cross the old fisherman's cottage as though in the dream, then reach for the handle of the door. The handle depresses easily enough beneath your grasping fingers, and the door opens with a click. The rest of the world yawns before you, framed in the doorway, all of it bathed in moonlight. You thought it was cold inside the cottage, but it's colder still now that it's open. An unpleasant wind rushes forth to meet you, knifing mercilessly through the fabric of your uniform. You look across the cold, inhospitable landscape, your fingers clenched into fists at your sides. Then you stepped out into the unknown. You canvassed the cliff face by nothing more than the luxurious singing. So haunting and ethereal is this voice. As it hangs on the breeze, it would be enough to send 1,000 ships off to war. You keep walking into the night until you reach the very edge of the cliffs, where they drip downwards into empty air. You ought not to go any further, but the voice has yet to cease. You can still hear it echoing inside your head. It compels you to act. You look down at the shore, which seems like a dizzying distance away, then out to the ocean, which is breaking against the scattered rocks below. Your eyes narrow with determination. Then you take a step towards the cliff. These cliffs are steep and rocks below them are sharp. You can see them glinting in the darkness. Their tips jagged like the teeth of hungry predators. The cold wind blows, rocking your hair. You shudder from it. Your shoes were not built for scaling cliffs, and your heels do not have much in the way of purchase. Particularly not when the cliffs are too steep. Clinging onto the cliffs is no small feat, yet you are determined to seize yourself down into the shore. In one piece, preferably. The wind is so powerful, it feels as though there is something deliberately malicious to it. You wonder during your descent if it means to knock you off your perch on purpose, to cast you down into the rocks below. If that is what it wants, then you refuse to give it the satisfaction. You can be awfully stubborn at times, and now is one of them. You continue to climb until long at last your feet meet the shoreline below. You have made it. You did not sustain too many injuries. Your palms are throbbing, yes. After gripping those rocks, and you might have a few cuts, but your wounds are of a shallow and superficial sort. Nothing things could have been worse. You flex your fingers, they do not feel uncomfortably numb and cold alongside it. Your skin is prickling, but at least you can still feel discomfort. At least it's still attached to your bones where it ought to be. Your vital organs concealed within the hollow cavity of your body. You have a lot to be thankful for. This night has by and large been quite successful. There are no longer obstacles between you and the mysterious voice which lulled you outdoors. Now you must find. You set off down the shore on the hunt of the singing voice which has captivated you so. Beside the sharp, jagged rocks which jut out the sand like teeth. The rocks which cannot be circumnavigated. Meanwhile, you clamber over. All the while, the sound of the sea mingles with that of the singing. It provides an ethereal, haunting backdrop to exploration, one which further adds the surreality of your moonlight stroll. The waves lap against the shore, then recede shyly, pushed and pulled by the bleached white moon which hangs overhead. The oceans that you've seen in your library books were all blue as sapphires, but this ocean is different. It's so late at night it looks black instead. The undulating surface of the water reminds you of a mirror, though its depths are even deeper, much more mysterious. A sense of foreboding settles upon you. You try to squash it. You will not let yourself be afraid. It's mermaid. It's a merlady. Man, it's a merlady. I'm scared. There's a woman sitting out in the ocean. The woman's eyes are closed and her expression soulful. She is singing. Her hair, which is fair, flitters around her like a shroud, which adds to her otherworldly aura. Her eyes might be closed, but her lashes are long and luxuriant like a doll's. Her lips, meanwhile, are parted in song, are soft like the freshly plucked petals of a flower. Her face is perfect as are her proportions. Her neck is tall and slender like a stem of a flower. As for her lower half of her body, meanwhile, well, it's nothing like anything you've seen before. It is here, and here alone, that the woman betrays your narrow human definitions of beauty, for her legs are non-existent. Rather than two awkward appendages, this woman has instead the sleek shimmering of a tail of a fish. Is she not then a human? She cannot be. Not with a tail like that. It is unusual you gasp, and audibly at that. You do not mean to be rude, but you cannot help yourself. Humans tend to react poorly to things they do not understand. At least you do not scream. That would have been ruder. Do you want me to voice her? And you be the narrator? Or...
You can do both parts for this for a bit.
Oh, what? Why? Is there something wrong?
I just want a little bit of a break.
Oh. Hi. You meant to observe the mermaid from a distance, but it would appear your shocked gasp was long and loud enough to attract her attention. The fish-tailed vision sitting upon the rock is looking at you. Her gaze is so piercing, it's almost she's looking through you. Your heart seems to stop inside your chest as if by some manner of a magic spell. You thought the mermaid pretty when you first sitting on that outcrop of a rock. Her face turned in profile. Now she's looking at you, however. You can see that you were mistaken. She's not just pretty, she's beautiful. So much so it is almost unnerving. She looks though as she stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She's simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she's some kind of vision? No, she's none of those things. Her tail might be an impossible thing, but its scales look slick and wet regardless. Like those of any fish that one might find at the market. These scales are iridescent and bathed beneath the light of the moon. They seem almost to glow. The sight of her father takes you away. You look at the mermaid, she looks back at you. You prepare yourself, expecting some sort of altercation. But the surprise soon fades from the mermaid's face. Lips, which once were pursed in a frown, now shift upwards. She's smiling. Then she says in a refined sort of voice, My, it is really good to see a human again. Particularly a human girl. I was beginning to fear that your kind had all disappeared, and I would no longer have anybody left to tell me of the world above the waters. My, this is quite the effusive greeting. The mermaid's introductory speech is positively brimming with the excitement of a sweet, girlish variety. She is rather more amiable than a fine polish of her syllables might suggest. You might be a well-bred lady yourself, with an accent to match, but you cannot help but feel overwhelmed. Anxiously, you observe the mermaid and ask her what she means. What happened? As to that, I'm afraid I cannot say. I have been sitting on these rocks and singing for many nights, but nobody has come to see me. There have been no lovely humans for me to play with. I was beginning to wonder whether your kind had disappeared altogether. I feared some manner of calamity had occurred while I was slumbering beneath the water's surface, and your kind had been eradicated. You shuddered and reassured the mermaid to the contrary. You do not know about the humans that she used to speak with, but you at least have not been eradicated. You are still here. Yes, well, I can see that. The mermaid answers with a light laugh. It is really a relief. My fellow mer people who live beneath the water told me not to worry so, but I could not help myself. I have always been fond of you humans. It was rather sobering, sitting here night after night, all on my own. It's so lonely here. Now that's okay. Have you heard it? So, dear human, did you say that you're unfamiliar with these parts? You examined the mermaid. You're not so... It's evident that she hoping for... You do not want to lie to her after all. One that's similar to this one. You tell her the shore and unfamiliar both your immediate surroundings and further afield. If there's a village nearby, then you have never set a foot in it. You do not know what this village is like, nor how many inhabitants it boasts. You do not know if a calamity, as the mermaid grimly supposed, has struck this land. But if she fears all the humans within immediate vicinity have been low by some mysterious malady, that she needn't worry overly on that score. You're still alive, and you're not, you wonder, enough to satiate her curiosity with the human realm? Yes, that is true. You are here, and I'm grateful, naturally, for your company, although... Wistfully, the mermaid sighs. I was rather hoping you might be able to bring me some sort of news of the nearby village and of its inhabitants. This makes you wonder, was there a particular reason from this village she was close to? So you were able to work out that much, the mermaid answers with a small smile. You are an intelligent one, are you? Your past professors would beg her to differ on that score. You were always awful when it came to academics, mathematics in particular. Same, girl! You never get your head up. Yep! You stern, stony-faced math prof... She's not here. None of them are here. It's just you now and the mermaid, and she does not need to know about your dismissal academic record. You allow yourself a small smile, touched by her compliment, and tell her that it was nothing more than a lucky guess. For I guess it was remarkably accurate. You're quite right. I did have a close friend from a nearby village. She was very dear to me. Eternally congratulate. Okay. Wherever you are. There are many humans in this world. Of that I know. The human who spoke to me here, however, was special. She was my human. You do not fail to catch the possessive note in the mermaid's voice. And I cherished her dearly. She would come to me on my rock late at night when she was finished with her chores and we would talk. I asked her a good number of questions about the human realm and about her customs. I fear that my endless inquiries must have been tedious, but she was always happy to indulge me. She never once scorned me for my ignorance, and neither did she make me feel like a fool. She always made time for me no matter how many demands she had on her time.
Boop.
Hello. She was a farmer's
Hello.
daughter, and she was awfully busy from dawn till dusk, threshing hay and taking animals out to pasture. She told me of her work, and I marveled at her. Her slender, though she possessed a truly tremendous amount of strength. I, who have lived in the ocean all my life, cannot countenance working hard as she did, but she bore her burdens without complaining. She was not the prettiest human who has walked the earth, but that mattered not to me. Her conversation was engaging, and I knew through our continued encounters that she meant no ill will. She did not even have a single drop of malice in her heart. Wistful manner which makes you feel a brief flicker some ugly primordial emotion. Could it be jealousy? It is painful to hear, isn't it?
With a jelly sandwich.
Good old dear, you have for many, many years been... You're not alone now, you're with the mermaid, and she's with you. Although she might prefer to be in company of an industrious farmhand. Farmhand is not here. Where did she go? Oh, if only I knew. She quite suddenly disappeared one day, almost as if she had been whisked away by a wicked spirit. Seems like the quite anticlimactic ending for such a close relationship. I actually want to... Oh, I could have done that earlier.
So British.
What? I could have... Oops. I screenshotted her. Wait. I saved there. And I load. Go here. Yes. I'm just gonna... Oh, whoa! She has a time thing!
She had a little sand hourglass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. Yes, I want to load. Of the sort happened. It was all very sudden. Did she not give you any warning? Not a single one. Did she disappear? I do not know, in truth. Time is a strange concept to beings such as myself, particularly as it seems to ebb and flow differently both above and below the surface. You humans have a strange compulsion to pin down, to place labels upon everything. You have names for your seasons and for your mouths. And even for your days of the week. It's all very precise. We merfolk, however, do not bother with such affairs, perhaps because we live for so much longer than humans do. We have no need to obsessively document our days, not when we have so many of them at our disposal. How long exactly do mermaids? Mermaid does not look much older than you do, but you cannot help but wonder. I am gonna screenshot this again.
Do you want me to voice the mer lady now?
I actually want to rest here because I also need to eat food, and you You need to sleep. My dear companion.
Quarter till 1.
Yeah, and I haven't eaten.
Oh, I suppose.
I suppose. We can continue this tomorrow if you wanted.
Yes.
Okay. I'll do so.
Same time?
Same time. As per usual. I'm gonna rate the game killer because he's playing Celeste. He's my mod and a friend.
Game is streaming?
Yes, he is. So if you want to see him, you know, die a lot in Celeste, because that's the thing, do so. Okay, goodbye. Go wait now. And it is done. It has been done. Pretty sure the raid went through. Just in case, I'm gonna look.
I hear no
Pew.
sound from his game.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the stream. Goodbye. Tomorrow same time.
No, I want to stay in chat.